Hello there, this is Joe Costa, your host of ESUGARNEWS, bringing you weekly legal developments that relate to the entertainment industry. And this week, we're going to talk about the lawsuit that has been filed against Melissa Jefferson, professionally known to all of us as LIZZO. And this complaint alleges a hostile work environment, racial harassment, religious harassment, assault, all sorts of really horrible allegations. And there's been a backlash because LIZZO is a champion of those who have images that don't necessarily coincide with what others consider dancers should look like. The typical dancer may be super thin, and LIZZO is overweight, and she's big into hiring other women to be her backup dancers who are also overweight, and even had a variety show or a show on television that was a competition to see who would get to tour with LIZZO, and some of the winners of that show got to tour with her and be her backup dancers. But they were exposed to things that they claim offended them. What are the specific allegations? One of the allegations is that she may have made a comment that was understood to mean that someone was eating too much. Did she say that? It's not alleging that she said that, but they're understanding it to mean that. Let's see exactly what they say in the complaint. LIZZO and Ms. Scott questioned whether Ms. Davis was struggling with something as she seemed less committed to her role on the dance cast. LIZZO and Ms. Scott pressed Ms. Davis for an explanation why she seemed less bubbly and vivacious than she did prior to the touring schedule. In professional dance, a dancer's weight gain is often seen as that dancer getting lazy or worse off as a performer. LIZZO's and Ms. Scott's questions about Ms. Davis's commitment to the tour were thinly veiled concerns about Ms. Davis's weight gain, which LIZZO had previously called attention to after noticing it at the South by Southwest Music Festival. Well, that is the fact-shaming allegation. Does it go far enough, in my opinion, to constitute fat-shaming? No, it doesn't. But that's what they're saying constitutes the facts behind the fact-shaming. There was a captain of the dance team who would make sexually suggestive gestures and comments to them that offended them. And then she would, at the same time, it seems a little bit like it's in conflict, but at the same time, she would preach to them about religion and about Jesus and Christianity. And they say that offended them, that wasn't appropriate for the workplace. In addition, LIZZO invited some of them out on a couple of occasions. On one occasion, she invited them out to the red light district in Amsterdam. And what do you think they found at the red light district in Amsterdam? They found nudity there. And some of these dancers were offended, and they thought that LIZZO was egging them on to participate in some of the activities that go on at strip clubs. Now, if you're going to ask Joe Costa for his professional legal advice, it's going to be, do not take your employees to strip clubs. Nothing good will ever happen when you take an employee to a strip club. The chance of them being offended is high. But what LIZZO is going to say is, I wasn't inviting my employees, I was inviting my friends. It wasn't a work-sanctioned event. In addition, she also invited her dancers to go to the Crazy Horse in Paris, which was a high-end cabaret burlesque type show. And while the plaintiffs in this lawsuit are claiming that that wasn't as offensive as Amsterdam, they still were offended. And now they're seeking compensation. Some of them were terminated for behavior issues. LIZZO believes this is probably sour grapes on their part. But I need to give everybody a message here. The ESUGARNEWS verdict on this is don't judge either. We're going to let this play out. We're going to let Lady Justice, who is blindfolded and has the scales, we're going to let her decide whether it tips in favor of the plaintiffs or whether it tips in favor of Lizzo and the other defendants. And we're not going to judge, we're not going to cancel, we're not going to do anything until such time that we let the courts do their job. Promise me that, and I'll be happy, and I'll see you next week on ESUGARNEWS.